Hello everyone. My name is Mrunang Pawar and I am student. Hello everyone. My name is Mrunang Pawar and I am student at Srimati Kashibai Navle College of Engineering, Pune. I would like to welcome you all here at HTM Qubits, Quantum of Workshops packed together. Are you one of those who want to know more about Affinidi? Here is your chance to be introduced to what Affinidi is all about. This session is dedicated to be your beginner's guide and help you dive deeper into some serious creation and sharing of digital identities and start using it in your projects. To guide you through this session, we have with us Kamal Laungani. He is a global developer ecosystem lead at Affinidi. His experience in the field makes him more than qualified to introduce you to the working of Affinidi. Along with him, we have here Sridharan and Shubham. Without any further ado, I would like to hand over this session to Kamal.
Thanks, Monarch, for the intro. Can I ask you how many people are watching us live? Because I can't see it on my screen. You're on mute.
Yeah, just a minute.
Or maybe people can comment if you're here, if you're listening to me, if you're able to hear me, write something in the comments, say hi or something.
Yeah, so we have a few people here. Yeah, we have a few people here and they will keep joining. So we can start with the session, I guess.
Sure. Just want to say hi first to whoever is here. I see Kartike, I see Michael. Who else is here? Can you say hi on the comment on the chat? Yeah, I just want to know who I'm talking to first. Just based on that, this is an Ask Me Anything session. I just want to hear questions very soon. But yeah, we have Karthike. Who else? Anmol is here. Where can I see, Munak, where can I see a list of attendees on my screen?
I think it is possible only through YouTube.
Okay. Can you share that link on the comment?
Yeah, sure. Just a minute.
Shubham Shri, are you still here? Yeah, I think you're messaging on private chat. Not able to see everyone here. Yeah, looking forward to the YouTube link, and then we can get started.
Yep, I'll send you the link. You can just check it out.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, it's not many people here. So Michael and Karthike, are you both from, because I think Anmol is from the HTM team. Are you also from the HTM team? Yeah, we'll
So
get to
I
the questions.
yeah.
All right, cool. So we have two attendees, and then when the video goes live on YouTube, hopefully, yeah. So not from HTM. Good to hear. So then we are talking to a real audience, and let's get started then. So it's good that we don't have a big audience, so we can give out personal attention. Murnak, I'd request you to unmute Karthike and Michael so that they can interrupt at any time and ask me any questions. So this session is meant for you. Let me first start with what is Affinity. So I think you all are participating in the HTM hackathon, right? And as a part of that, Affinity is one of the sponsors, and If you create an application that leverages our technology, if it uses our verifiable credential solution, then you can win up to 10,000, or you can win 10,000 rupees. So the 10 best applications or submissions will receive it. There's no hierarchy in the prizes that first prize receives more or second prize receives less. So just the 10 submissions will get a flat out 10,000, but you just need to use our verifiable credentials and basically our technology behind the scenes. Cool. So let me get started with what is Affinity. So in a world of identity, in a world of credentials where data is of paramount importance, it's really important that your identity attributes are in your control. In today's world, Facebook and Google essentially control a lot of your data attributes and identity attributes, and they can sell your data without your consent and things like that. What Affinity helps you do with its technology is enables you to get full control of your digitally verifiable data. These could be credentials about yourself, it could be credentials about what you did in the past, etc. So good example is employment credentials, where let's say you are employed at a certain place, or let's say it could even be education credentials, right? Let's say you're studying in Mumbai University, and you after 4 years of studying, you graduate, and the university gives you a digital certificate. The certificate is issued in a JSON LD schema, and I'll go through the schema itself later on. And it has a cryptographic signature associated with it, and that's automatically generated using our APIs. And essentially, you can then store that credential in your wallet and present it to different entities who can help you verify those credentials and give you services based on that. So the advantage here is that you could easily fake your degrees. You could create a paper that says that you received a degree from Mumbai University, but you can't fake cryptography. When somebody issues you a credential, they sign it with their private key. So that's how you understand that the issuer who issued the credential is a authentic issuer or not. Whether or not you trust the issuer, it's up to you. So at least verifiability is built in through those credentials. So let me walk you through what are those verifiable credentials, and this is when I will start my screen. Before I do that, let me introduce a little bit about myself. I'm Kamal. I'm leading the global developer ecosystem team. To answer your question, Karthike, this is our team is basically responsible for engaging developers like you to use our technology stack and to create interesting applications on top of it. So does that answer your question? If it doesn't, just feel free to write in the comments what any more questions that you might have. Cool. I'll pause for 2 seconds to see if you have any questions. Any of you? If not, I will just share my screen. Let me know if you're able to see my screen. Can you see my screen? Someone? Yep. Uh, by the way, Prathamesh,
Yep, we can see.
Shubham, Runak, Anmol, all of you are sending private chats. Just send it to the public so everyone can see it. We have a question. Why can't someone just verify a certificate with the issuer? So we'll answer that question as well right now. Let's go through what are verifiable credentials first. So you can go through this article later on. We'll just share the link on the chat. But for now, I wanted to introduce you to this. This is how a verifiable credential looks like. So first of all, what's the need for such a credential, right? As mentioned earlier, a lot of data attributes about yourself can be forged, right? For example, if you take a COVID test, and your COVID test these days are issued in the form of a PDF or in the form of a paper. Now you can easily forge a positive result and just make it negative using a PDF editor, and you can present it at immigration border to get entry into a country, for example. Now that is a problem, right? And there's no straightforward way to solve it. verifiable credentials come in help over there. So Affinity runs this initiative called Safe Travel, and this is basically at the Singapore border. We're a Singapore-based company, so at the Singapore border, there are immigration officers, and they accept some QR codes which are issued to them by Malaysian medical labs. These medical labs issue credentials in the form of a QR code, and behind the scenes, it is nothing but a verifiable credential. And this is how that verifiable credential looks like. This is just one example, but there can be many such examples of different kinds of verifiable credentials. So what essentially happens is that you get the health credential in the form of a JSON, just like this, and you can then present this JSON schema onto the airport to the immigration officer. And the immigration officer does not see this credential like this. They don't even know what a verifiable credential is. It's just a technology that's empowering behind the scenes. All they see is a QR code. Once the QR code is scanned behind the scenes, we make an API call to check this verifiable credential and if it is valid or not. And if it is valid, then voila, you are allowed entry. And our system tells you that you can be allowed entry. So that's one use case. As I mentioned before, university certificates are another use case, and there can be multiple such use cases, and we'll go through some of that in soon as well. But right now, let's go through how a verifiable credential looks like, and feel free to keep shooting your questions in the chat while I'm presenting, so I will just look at it later. So let's see. Here we have context, which is not really that important. You can just keep it the same. You will see a portal like vcgenerator.com. You can go to this portal to generate your own VC type. We'll go through that as well. So here is where you provide the issuer's URL. This is the identifier of the issuer. And this is the metadata about the credential. So this is the real meat of the credential. This is where somebody is making claim about you. So in this case, this issuer is making a claim about this subject whose DID is this. I will tell you what a DID is soon. And the claim that this issuer is making is that, okay, this person is called whatever, Kamal, and Kamal is an alumni of so and so university. And that's, you can add more information here about this is the GPA that they received, or this is the percentage marks that they received in the so and so exams. And you can then finish that with a cryptographic signature. This, you don't need to add this. You can just call one of our API endpoints to create a cryptographic signature. So this is a proof issued by the issuer. So whenever the issuer issues a credential, this proof is automatically added. And we'll go through how to do all of that soon. But is the structure of a verifiable credential clear? Do you have any questions on that? Basically, this is a JSON LD schema, JSON linked data, because all of this URL data is linked to other schema types. So this is just an extension of JSON. So I'll just pause there to see if there are any questions.
So yeah, keep the questions coming. So Kamal, we have a question. Where is the JSON data saved?
Awesome. Good question. We will come to the storage aspect of this as well. So right now, the storage of verifiable credentials is in a custodial wallet, and that custodial wallet is in Affinity, but it can be decentralized as well. This is a very long-term vision of decentralization. So we are imagining a world where 5 to 10 years from now, people will have identity wallets, just like people have cryptocurrency wallets for Bitcoin and Ethereum and different cryptocurrencies. We imagine a world where people will have identity wallets, and these identity wallets will contain attributes about you, about claims that some entity is making about you. In the meanwhile, while the world goes to that stage, it's far away, right? So right now, the solution that we have is a custodial wallet, and this custodial wallet is what I will be presenting to you soon. Any other questions? All right. Why don't we proceed then? So Let me show you how the data is saved by presenting my screen once again. Share screen. All right, let's go through these APIs. Okay, let's take it step by step. So first of all, I will come to the storage part, but first of all, you need to create a VC and issue a VC, right? A verifiable credential can be of different schemas. Uh, by the way, I hope you can see my screen, right? Just give me a thumbs up or say yes if you can see my screen. Yep, perfect. So awesome. Then let's continue. So this is the portal for creating different VC schemas. You can see that this is called vcgenerator.com. Let's start with simple example, which is email credential, right? So this email credential is basically claiming that this is your email, right? It's a very simple credential type. So what you can do is in this portal, you can say, my email is Kamal at abc.com, and I can change my name to Kamal Laungani. And if I click on generate a VC, it will generate an unsigned VC for me. If I copy this, I can paste it in a text editor, and you can see how different how does it actually look like. This is exactly looking like a JSON, and your holder DID is not present here, and we'll elaborate on what can be filled here. And this is your unsigned credential, right? This is how you can create different types of credentials. So let's go with a little bit more complex example here now. Education credential, which is something that we spoke about. If you expand using this, you will see different kinds of attributes here. So you can see that this credential category is degree. Let's say this is Bachelor of Engineering, and this is recognized by University of, let's say, Mumbai, and it is created in 2021, January 7th. And you can also add a URL if you have any, or you can leave it blank as well. If you generate the VC, you can see that this new VC type looks like this. So you don't even have to do anything. You can just go through the different VC types here. Some of them are for claiming a gender, some of them are for address, some of them are for name. Yeah. So what's the value here? Let's, for example, the Indian government or some ministry or some government body can say that, hey, this address belongs to this person. So you can say that this address locality is Mumbai and address region is KN, whatever, and postal code is 400001. And you can mention the address here, and you can mention the name as well. So if a government does this, if a government gives you a credential, they're basically claiming that there is this person who is called Kamal, who's living in so and so address at so and so postal code. Now, if you sign this credential, if the government signs this credential with their own private key, then I would have a credential as good as a PAN card or an Aadhaar card, whichever contains your address, because now I have a proof in a digital format that this was issued by a trusted issuer. Right. So we've seen so many cases of passports being forged, of ID documents being forged. In case of digital documentation, that is not possible at all. In case of verifiable credentials. So let's go through what is a DID, right? You've seen that holder DID in some places. Let's actually go through the same article once again. It has a helpful image to explain the whole flow, right? So this is a very basic diagram to explain how the whole ecosystem works. So let's say there is an issuer who is a government, or it could be a university, it could be an employer, any entity of authority who can make claims about you. The holder can be a person or an entity. So it can be a student, it can be a person who just receives a driver license, and it can be basically anybody else who can um, who can get credentials about themselves, right? And then there is a verifier who can verify your credentials. So let's say you get a driver license issued to you by a driver license authority, right? Who can take your driver license test and they can issue you a digital driver license. And this is a car rental company, let's assume. And this car rental company can C, you can present your verifiable credential to this car rental company, and they can trust that because it is issued by a trusted issuer. And based on that, they can provide you some services here, which could be like giving you a car on rent or issuing an insurance to you, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's the basic model, and the the way it all works is through a decentralized identifier, a DID. So we also have that decentralized identifier, affinity. Let's see. So here's another article, and here you can see what a DID is. This is how a DID looks like. So a DID is nothing but a decentralized identifier. This identifier is what identifies you. It could be on the blockchain or it could be not on the blockchain. It could also be just stored in a database. So essentially, this is a basic building block of the whole SSI ecosystem, right? So in this case, a DID would be followed by a DID method and identifier. So what this DID does essentially is it helps you. For example, look at this. This is a DID. This is how it looks like. So this helps identify you. It's almost like an email ID or like a primary key of a table, right? Where this DID, if I have a DID like this, I can give that DID to an issuer and they can issue my credentials to this DID. So it's almost like you send an email to an email ID, but you send verifiable credentials to a DID. Got it? We'll take a 2-second pause there to see if you have any questions. Yep. Can I create my own VC type? Not at the moment. Yeah, that's a correct answer. At this point, you should go through some of these credential types. But if you have custom information that does not fit any of these credential types, that's also okay. You can take a generic, VC type such as ID document. And what you can do is expand this. And in one of these fields, you can nest your data. So let's say that the ID class is not a useful field for you, or maybe the classification method is not a useful field for you. So what you can do is you can nest a JSON within this JSON. So you can uh, create a new JSON here, and you can say, "Hey, that's I want to add key value blah blah blah." So whatever you can say that I want to add, I don't know, cargo shipment date, and it can be like 12/12/2020. So something like that. In case you want to have custom data that is not available in any of these VC types, you can also do this workaround. So you can do this at the code level on your side. Better to do it. Better to do it on your side. We will also share with you the entire code, so you don't really have to do anything from scratch. Sridharan, if you can prepare the 3 demos of the issuer, holder, and verifier of the driver license app, that would be very easy for everyone to follow. And basically, we can show everyone a demo of how a potential use case can look like. Cool. So and we can show the code base as well. So basically, all you have to do is clone that and run it on your local and make some modifications and change it as per your use case, and voila, you have a submission that is valid for this hackathon. Cool. Uh, then getting back to DIDs, as I said, this is like a primary key. It's almost like an email ID. So as you will see here, uh, these VCs that you generate, the unsigned VCs, have a blank holder DID. This is where you should fill those DIDs. You should get the holder DID from the holder, from the person to whom you're issuing the credential, and put that DID in the holder DID. Right? That is what completes your unsigned VC. Cool. Um, so I'll just take a pause again, and then in the next 2 to 3 minutes, I'll start getting more technical. We'll get through some of the APIs, and in those APIs, we'll see how to do all of this, right? Whatever I explain in theory, how to put it in practice. Let's see if there are any more questions. Cool. Nothing. Perfect. So let's go through some technical documentation here. Let's go through APIs. So you can go through some frequently used APIs on affinity.com/API. Okay. The first ever thing that you need to do is sign up. Sign up or log in, one of the two. If you don't have an account, you need to sign up. This answers your question about where or how is the information stored, right? So custodial wallet is what stores your credentials, and we'll come to that soon. But as you see here, this is a sign up endpoint. Documentation is very clear here. You can just read through it, and if you have questions, you can reach out to our Discord. Shubham, if you can paste the Discord link in our chat, that would be great so that people can join. So join our Discord, and there you can ask us more questions, but this documentation should ideally be clear on its own. So what you can do is you can call this API endpoint. It's called Cloud Wallet API. And you can, first and foremost, you need to generate an API key, right? And in order to do that, you should visit this link. It's very simple. You just need to enter a random username, random, and you can enter any email ID. Right now, I'll enter mine and just say I'm not a robot, sign up, and you will get an API key. So one API key is for SDK, which we'll go through later. And right now, the API key that we need is for making API calls. So it's a pretty interesting and easy technology to learn, especially for students. And let's go through how to do it. So here's the sign up endpoint, right? And here you can enter username and password and your DID method in the request body. And in the response body, you will see an access token and a DID. Again, I'll not go through the entire process of how to make the API call. We have a Postman collection here, which is mentioned in the links here. You can go through this Postman collection, download it on your machine, and you can run those APIs on your machine as well. But I'll just go through the high level. If you provide a random username and a strong password, then you will be able to get an access token and a DID. This DID is what is helpful for you. So for three types of users, the issuer, holder, and verifier that we saw earlier, we will need three different accounts. So these three roles, a government or somebody who issues, somebody who gets the credential, and somebody who reads the credential and provides services based on that. So those three roles will need to sign up and get their own DID. Once you have those DIDs, you can log in. And once you log in, you get an access token. You get the access token after sign up as well. So using that access token, I'll just skip the logout and I'll go through build and sign VC. So very simple. Go to vcgenerator.com, select the VC of your choice, customize it, generate, click on copy, right? And in the request body that is mentioned here in the build unsigned VC, you can just replace the entire request body with the thing that you just copied from VC generator. And in the response body, you will see an unsigned VC. This would be an expanded version of the unsigned VC. Now, this response should be pasted as a request to the signed credential endpoint. This is the act of issuance. This is the important API. This API helps you issue a credential. So what you do is you take the response from the previous request, which is this one, and you pass it as a request body to signed credential endpoint. This would be the request body. And in the response, you will see the exact same credential, but it will be called signed credential instead of unsigned credential here. And in the end, you will have proof and credential status. Right? This is the cryptographic proof. You don't need to care about how this happens. If you want, we can chat, get more details on the chat. But yeah, what you can do is you can provide a yeah, you don't need to do anything at this point. You can just see how the proof looks like and just understand that this is done through public-private key cryptography. Cool. So we've now issued a credential, right? And if you get a 200 response, you get a valid credential, and these are the wrong request types. Then you can share the credential. You can call this endpoint with your credential ID, and you can present your credential ID here. The credential ID you get from here, which is here. credential status ID. So you can pass that ID to this API endpoint, and in this, if you do that, if you provide time to live as, I don't know, um, you know, 1 year or something, then your credential will not expire until 1 year. And in the response, you will see a QR code and a sharing URL. So you can provide this QR code and sharing URL to externals who want to see your credential, right? And finally, how do we store this credential? It goes back to the sign up API endpoint. When you're signing up, what you're essentially signing up to is our cloud wallet. And this cloud wallet is the custodial wallet that I mentioned earlier, right? So this cloud wallet will contain your VCs and your credentials. And here in the request body, you can provide the data that you need to store, and in the response, you will get a credential ID as a string. So basically, this is how you store a credential. And if you want to retrieve the credential, you can say get all credentials, or there's also another endpoint which is called get credential. So you can get either all credentials under a certain wallet, or you can get just a single credential by its ID. And finally, this is the verification side. So if you're a verifier, you can just take a VC that is shared to you by a holder using sharing URL or whatever, or maybe the entire VC is shared to you. And you can call this endpoint with the entire VC, and in the response, you will see is valid, true, or false. If it is true, that means this method does the magic of verifying whether your cryptographic signature was essentially valid or not. And if it is valid, you will get a true here. So that's the entire flow, right? In terms of APIs, you can finish the entire flow. We'll pause here to see if there are any questions. Otherwise, Sridharan, hope you're ready. You can go through the example of a driver license use case to issue credentials and exchange credentials. Okay, perfect. No more questions. Then in that case, Shri, are you ready with what you want to present?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Uh, just give me 2 minutes. I just need to enable the permission for sharing the screen. Google. I think it just might like reopen the Google Chrome.
So yeah, till that time you can just put down any comments, or if you have any doubts, just mention it in the comments, and they will try to answer their best. And don't forget to join the Affinities Discord server. The link is in the chat box.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Sridharan, you can hear
Okay.
you.
Yeah. So let me walk you through the simple use case of this driving license actually. So this is nothing but like I'll just give a quick context about this. Like there's a traveler, so he wants to get a car rental from a car rental company. So he needs to give a document, ID document for that. But this car rental company, it says like I don't accept like a normal ID proof. I need a verifiable credential. So what he does is like he goes to a startup A. This startup A, what it does is it takes the ID document from people and it gives a VC on behalf of that. So this traveler goes to the startup A and he submits all the ID document. The startup A verifies the document in the background and issues a VC to this traveler, and then this traveler gives a VC to this car rental company and then gets the car. So this is the use case that we are going to see. So for this, like the traveler, what he needs to do is like first he goes to the startup A website and he applies for the car rental. He submits for the application, and he wants to get the car rental from that company. So first he goes and does the sign up. Let's say we will quickly do the sign up. Traveler, maybe traveler 94. So he creates an account. He goes to the start applying for driving license, and he creates an account, and then he's like signed up successfully. And then here you can see the form. This form is the details that he needs to fill, the basic details, what is his name, email ID, and all the details of driving license. Like it is issued on one, let's say like 1/1/2020. Driving license from ID is 1 2 3 4 5 6, and he submits the form. So then that's all. So he just sits in home, and like he waits for the verifiable credential to be issued by the startup A. After that, startup A, what it does is, like he is the issuer. So issuer, he goes and does the issuer admin login. So this is admin portal, and when he signs up into this portal, he sees like all the list of applications which are being submitted to him. We have a very big list of applications which are submitted. like uh, Here you can see there are like multiple applications which are there, and these are the applications which are submitted for the driving license verifiable credential. So here, if I think we have some it's here, and let's say like I'll issue a verifiable credential to someone else and show you like how it works. So let's say like I'm going to issue a verifiable credential to Alex. So Alex is someone who submitted the form and is waiting for the verifiable credential. So this startup A, who is the issuer and the admin, so he approves this application. When he approves this application, Alex will be getting the verifiable credential in the email. I'll show you like how he will be getting the verifiable credential. So just like quickly log into my account. Forgot my password. Okay. So what he gets is like he gets the email with a link to save the verifiable credential. Once he gets the link with the verifiable credential, what he does is like he goes to his wallet. When he clicks on the link, he lands into the um, holder page, like which is nothing but the wallet. So when he logs into this wallet, he will be seeing like no credentials, because like he doesn't he just like signed up to the application, so he doesn't see any credentials to it. So let's say if some other people, like when they log in, like they'll be able to see the credentials which are saved in their application. So these are the list of credentials which are saved in their application. So like they will be like able to see the documents which are present, the ID document and everything. So after that, what he does is like he wants to share that credential to the car rental company. So he goes to the car rental company website. Here you can see like this is a link that they have to click to share the credential. So
By the way, Shri, you can actually use your Affinity ID later to show the demo as well.
yeah, sure. So he clicks on this link, and then he will be landing to the share credential page. So once he lands into the share credential page, like here, all the list of matching verifiable credential will be listed. So he can choose like which credential he wants to share. Like for example, driving license. So once he clicks on the share button, so this credential will be shared to the verifier, and the credential will be shared successfully. And then like once the verifier logs into the account, he will be able to see all the um, shared credentials, and you will be able to verify those credentials. So you'll be getting the notification of those credentials, and you can just click on the credential and you can verify those credentials on this page. So here it's showing like this is not a valid proof, because like this is sample data that we have, and like if the verifiable credential is actually valid, so this will be like verifiable. For example, I can show you this Peter is like not a valid credential, so that's why it's not validating. So if I use a valid credential, like this one, PJ. So once the valid credential is issued to him, like he will be like able to see this, and that credential will be verified. And so here it will be like like you can see a green check here, like once it is a valid credential. So this is like a simple use case that is created for a driving license.
It's also potentially because of the login token
Yeah,
that you need to change.
yeah. So this is created a long time back, and like maybe some bug in the token, and we have to change that.
Shri, can you also give a very quick walkthrough of the three repositories? And Shubham, you can paste those in the chat as well.
Yeah, sure, definitely. So let me. So these three applications, I'll give you like the code walkthrough of these three applications, and here you can see.
You're not presenting your screen.
Okay, sorry. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. We saw like three applications, like holder, verifier, and issuer. I like if you go to this link, and I think Shubham will be sharing you this link, and you can find these three repos. I'll start with this issuer repo. So in the README file, you'll be able to find the details to do the basic setup on like how to run this in your local machine. So to give a simple code walkthrough, like what it has is like it has two major divisions, like the applicant and the admin. And once the applicant submits the application, what we are doing is like we are using Firebase in the background to save the data. Like the application form will be sent to the admin using the Firebase DB. The Firebase configuration you can find in the utils folder, in the SRC utils folder. And once the application is submitted, and then like the admin will be able to issue the credential. In order to issue the credential, we need to follow certain steps. Like first we need to create an unsigned credential, and then we need to sign the credential, and then like we need to share that. So here you can see all the types which are mentioned for the APIs. And then like in the API service, you can find all the APIs which are mentioned, like the APIs that we are using in the application. So these are the APIs like Cloud Wallet API, like uh, yeah, Cloud Wallet Delete API and Store API, Store Signed VCs. Like you can see like multiple APIs that are used in this application listed in the API service. So like when the issuer issues the credential, there is a sequence of steps that is being performed. Let me try to take that, find that steps. The pages, issuer. So this is what like the fetching data part. So all the submitted applications are like fetched from the Firebase DB for the admin, and it is like displayed here. Yeah, and this is the application submission part. So here, if you see, like once the um, the admin clicks on the approval button, like he approves the application. What we need to do is first we need to create a unsigned credential. So let's say like you have a simple JSON data. That data has like some given name, family name, email ID, all the driving license ID, some basic JSON structure. First, we need to convert that to a VC structure. How we are going to convert to a VC structure is using this issue unsigned VC. Like using this API, you will be able to convert the normal JSON to JSON LD, and so this will be unsigned credential. And on top of this, what the issuer needs to do is he needs to put a signature. Then only it becomes a valid credential. So using this API service dot sign VC, you'll be able to sign the credential. After that, you need to store the credential, because if you want to save the VC, you need to first save that in the wallet, and then once you save that in the wallet, you'll be able to create a URL. So like you can see, there are like 5 APIs which is called in sequence, one after the other, and it should happen in this particular sequence, because like the subsequent APIs are like depending on the response from the previous call. So once we get the signed credential, we'll be saving that in this wallet, and once we save that in the wallet, we'll be getting the shareable link using the share credentials API. So once like this is nothing but the credential ID. Claim ID is nothing but the each credential has its own unique ID. So once you give this unique ID, you'll be getting a shareable link. This shareable link is sent to the email. Here you can see the send email. So in this using this send email, like the email will be sent to the holder, the URL will be sent to him. So like to show you this email template, here you can see like we are using Amazon SCS mail server. You can use any mail server like email.js or like anything of your preference. This is just like a demo. We use like SCS mail server. So this sends the email in this particular format with this particular sharing URL in the mail body. So with this, like the issuer flow is completed. Any questions in this code part and the issuer flow? Um, if not, shall I proceed to the wallet holder part? Okay, cool. Please stop me anytime, like if you have any doubts. So I'll just like clear that and proceed. Like feel free to like raise your questions in the middle. Uh, Prathamesh, like you have any doubts, or like shall I proceed? Okay. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Like like I'll start with this wallet part. Like now, the first part is the verifiable credentials is issued to a wallet user. Like here in the wallet user, like there are 3 main functions that he is doing. One is login into the account and seeing like all the credentials which is being already issued to him. And the second one is whenever someone gives some credential, he should be able to save that in his account. And the third part is like when he wants to share that credential, he should be able to share that. So these are the 3 main functions that is present in the wallet. Here I'll show you like where those functions are present. Here you can see like these are like the login and the sign up, like the basic login and the sign up. So this also you can use like Affinidi API. Like we have login and the sign up API, which you can find in the documentation. Uh, Here you can see like once like people click on the login button, you will be able to log in into the like Affinity SDK or the API. Here we are using SDK because like this encrypted messaging part and the creation of VP is possible through this SDK. So here you can see this display credentials table. So these are the values, like just to display the VC data in the UI. So I'll show you like how the accept credential part works. So this is the accept credential URL. When someone lands into this particular page, so we are like passing that sharing URL in the query parameter. So we are just reading that URL from the query parameter, and in that this URL is nothing but like it's a VC. When you just hit the URL using the fetch endpoint or like any curl or anything, like you'll be getting the credential in response. This credential will be just like displaying to the user, saying like whether you want to save that or not. If they clicks on accept, like with then you can save the credential to the wallet. How you can save that? Like uh, using the save API. We have this store signed VC's API, so you can use that to save the credential. And then like to share the credential, here you can see this sharing part. So this is like something like you need to pay attention to the SDK. Till this point, like which I told you, like you can use the APIs completely to complete the flow. Everything can be completed using APIs. After this point, like you need the help of the SDKs, the core SDKs, to create a verifiable presentation and share that to the verifier. So how we can do is like we have methods in SDK. So like once here you can see like on create VP, which is like the button trigger for like sharing the verifiable credentials, and then like you'll be able to call the the SDK method, uh, create credential share response token. Is nothing but like once you create a verifiable presentation from the credentials that you have, that presentation will be converted in the form of a JSON token, not like a plain object. So that token will be sent using the messaging service. Messaging service is nothing but um, like you will be sending the data. You won't be like sending the data directly from the holder to the verifier. You need some middleman to um, take the token from the wallet to the verifier. So this messaging service is like a middleman who takes all the token, and he gives that to the verifier. So when we use this messaging service, like this is a separate service that you can find it here. Like I'll show you like how the code looks like. If you go to this SRC, you will be able to find the containers, components, utils, sorry. So in the utils, like you'll be able to see the messaging service. So this is the messaging service that we are using. Like this is the simple API call that you can use like to send all the messages. So this send API call you can use like to send the message to the particular user, the verifier, and the message is nothing but the token, or the token is nothing but like the JSON which contains the verifiable credential. So this value will be sent to the verifier, and so with this, like the sharing part is completed. So once the VC is shared to the verifier will be able to use the same messaging service to get that data, and you'll be able to display that. So here you can see the same messaging service is used in the verifier also. Here what we are doing is we are getting all the messages which are sent to the verifier through long polling. Like every 10 seconds, call is made to the messaging service to check whether some new messages arrived or not. So once we get the new message, we will be like showing that to the verifier as the notification that you saw in the demo. So this is the messaging service APIs that you can find here, and the UI is here. Like here you can find the message listener component. this will be like listening to that messages. So here you can see the interval millisecond is nothing but the interval for the polling, like how much like you want to have the duration for the polling. Here we have kept like 10 seconds. So for every 10 seconds, this will be calling the messaging service, and you'll be getting that messages, and the notification will be displayed. So if the verifier clicks on that notification, he in the background, what we'll be doing is like we'll be checking whether that is a valid credential or not. So using the verify a token SDK method. So I'll show you that part. And using that method, you can verify whether it is a valid token or not. Here you can see verify credential share response token. Uh, Credential share response token is given by the wallet user. So you are going to call this method like called verify that token. So the name might be like little big and it will be like little confusing for you initially, but like once you are like using this, it will become like little familiar with this. This is nothing but the token which is sent by the holder, and we are just like verifying it here by passing this token here. And like this method will help you to verify that credential, and it will say like whether it is a valid VC or not. So if it is a valid VC, then he will be like issuing that car as a rental. This is like a overall main implementation part of this driving license use case. So I mean, like this might be like little confusing for you. Like you can ask like any questions that you have regarding this flow.
To summarize what Shri said, yeah, and Shri, thanks for the presentation. Um, the last part, which is the messaging service, is complex, so you can totally skip it and just do the validation using VCs, just for the sake of the proof of concept. Remember, this hackathon is about creating a POC, a proof of concept. It's not about building an application that is 100% perfect, it's production ready, and that kind of thing. So just keep that in mind, that we are building small scale proofs rather than large scale applications. Secondly, this driver license use case is an example of how an authority can issue a credential to you, which you can use to avail a service. This framework or this mental model, this idea can be applied to any industry. You can issue health certificates, education certificates, employment certificates, or credentials. All right. So feel free to be creative and at the same time use the resources that are available to you, which we mentioned here as VC generator, as the three repositories that you saw. Right. So feel free to use all of that while you're coming up with an idea. And thirdly, our Discord is always available. So go to our website, join our Discord, and feel free to always ask us anything if you want. Finally, I will, Ronak, I don't know if there's a way to communicate um, a set of resources, but I'd like to essentially send all of the participants a list of useful resources. One is the VC generator portal that we just showed, the three repositories that we showed, a list of articles that can be useful for the audience.
So yeah, what participants can do is we have Affinity booth in the Discord channel of Hack the Mountains, so we can post all the resources there. It is the one possible way where participants can access the resources, all the resources. So if you are okay with it, then we can do it.
Yeah, sure. That's also fine. And what we can do is we can share all of the resources on that one place. I'd like
Yeah,
to leave everyone with an article that I think can be potentially useful.
yeah, sure.
So I'm just going to present my screen. This is essentially a list of um, 25 use cases that are possible using the technology at Affinity. Just give me a moment.
closest to that. And, okay, but I'll do that too,
There's
right? Okay,
three,
you were able to relate my
25. Yep. So there you go. If you want to get some ideas, if you want to be inspired, just look at these different use cases. Um, so driver license is the one that we just saw right now, and you have a detailed article on that as well. Then you can create an application for approving loans, verifying educational credentials, vehicle rentals, medical records, and there's a bunch of possibilities, right? You can verify votes, you can get boarding passes, you can do age verification, right, to prove that you are 18 plus in order to avail some services. Um, and yeah, uh, like even death certificates, right? So all of these are credentials. All of this is data about you, and any kind of data that claims something about you can be converted into a verifiable credential using our APIs. So for this hackathon, you can feel free to create even a small application which does maybe just only issuance, or only, or maybe it's only a wallet, or maybe it's only sharing of a credential with the verifier. You don't have to do all three, right? But if you do, that's also good. But yeah, the idea is that you explore the technology and you share it with your friends, and perhaps later you use it in an application that you're building as well. So yeah, would like to stop there and to see if you have any more questions.
the 1, 2, 3 PMS. So it was a very great session, Kamal. The use cases were awesome, and looking forward to many projects and many amazing projects in the hackathon. So I hope all the participants will use Affinity, make best use of Affinity, and submit their best projects.
Yeah, looking forward as well. Cool. Thanks
Yeah,
everyone. Let's
thank
see
you.
if there's any more chats. If not, then we're good to go. And yeah, Mohit, thanks for that. We can also shout out over an email to the participant. I think that would be really helpful. Cool. Back to you, Manak.
So yeah, that's it. I think if you have any questions or any doubt, then you have shared the Discord link of the Affinity. Then you can join the Discord server and ask the questions, and all the resources will be provided to you. So no need to worry about it.